Yan. So, welcome for our today's lesson. We will discuss integration of rational functions of sine x and cosine x. Also, this is known as Weierstrass substitution. No? So, kilala si Weierstrass as a German mathematician, no, who introduced this concept. No? So, ayan. Weierstrass substitution. Ayan. So, ano ba yung Weierstrass substitution? This is when we use sine x and cosine x as if it is a rational function or an algebraic function instead of a trigonometric function. So, kumbaga, nakahalo siya sa different, let's say, nakahalo siya sa ibang rational functions, no? Hindi lang algebraic but pwedeng constant, mga ganung bagay. Okay, so ano ba yung mga formulas natin for Weierstrass substitution? We have lahat ng ano natin nag-start dito. Z is equal to tangent x over 2. Ito yung pinakapunot dulo ng Weierstrass substitution and ito yung gagamitin natin for our final answer. Then, from this, we will have sine x is equal to 2z over 1 plus z squared. For our cosine x, we have 1 minus z squared over 1 plus z squared. Yan yung katumbas ng cosine x. And for our dx is, we have 2dz over 1 plus z squared. Okay? So, tandaan nyo yung apat ng formula na yan. Yung copyahin nyo, post this video, and copy. Okay, I presume you have already copied our formula and kahit pa paano familiarize na kayo. So, let's use Weierstrass substitution. Okay, so number 1, we are asked to find for the integral of dx over 1 plus sine x plus cosine x. So, this is our integral that we are asked to solve. No? So, excuse me. Ayan, so let's substitute, no? So, for dx, alam natin na this is equivalent to 2dz over z squared, or rather 1 plus z squared. 1 plus z squared over 1 plus 2z over 1 plus z squared plus 1 minus z squared over 1 plus z squared. So, para simplify natin yung complex fraction natin, we are going to multiply 1 plus z squared over 1 plus z squared, or para mas malinaw yung mga cancellation natin later, for the meantime, I will use 1 plus z squared over 1 all over 1 plus z squared over 1. Pero in our later example, 1 plus z squared over 1 plus z squared na lang yung ilalagay natin just to justify yung mga cancellations na gagawin natin in this method. So, obviously, makakancel yung denominator dito sa taas, no? And dito sa baba, ganun din, no? Kumbaga, dinistribute lang natin tong 1 plus z squared dun sa lahat ng terms. Then, yung 1 natin dito, magkakaroon siya ng times 1 plus z squared, no? So, therefore, our new integral is what? We have the integral of 2dz over 1 plus z squared plus 2z plus 1 minus z squared. Ito yung 1 natin. Ito yung sine x. Ito yung cosine x. Ito yung dx, yung nasa taas. Okay, just to be clear with our substitutions. Then let's simplify. Obviously, makakancel yung z squared because this is minus, no? Ayan. Then, combine natin yung dalawang 2. So, therefore, we will have the integral of, usog ko lang. Ayan. We will have the integral of 2dz over 2z plus 2. And 2 is a common factor, no, sa denominator. So, pwede natin siyang i-factor out and makakancel siya with the 2 sa numerator. So, ano may iiwan natin? We have the integral of dz over 1 plus z, or z plus 1. And we can use u substitution, no? U is equal to z plus 1. du is equal to dz, obviously. No, so this is du over u. So our integral is ln u plus c. No, so substituting u with z plus 1, no, ln of z plus 1 plus c. However, di ba, with our Weierstrass substitution, no, so this is z is equal to tangent x over 2. No, so we have our final answer, the natural logarithm of tangent x over 2 plus 1 plus c. Ayan. This is our final answer. Okay? So, I hope malinaw, no, yung mga substitution and yung manipulations na ginawa natin for example number 1. No? So, let's proceed example number 2. So, we are asked to find for the integral of dz over 1 plus cosine z. Okay, so ito yung pinapahanap natin. Again, substitute lang tayo. Ito ko na lang lagay. 2dz, sorry, this is dx. Ayan. So, 2dz over 1 plus z squared over 1 plus 1 minus z squared over 1 plus z squared. No? So, yan yung substitution na nangyari. So, multiply lang natin with 1 plus z squared over 1 plus z squared. Diba? So, obviously, makakancel yung mga denominators natin. Then, again, dito, magmumultiply tayo ng 1 plus z squared. So, we will have, ano yung magiging bagong integral natin? 2dz over 1 plus z squared plus 1 minus z squared. And obviously, makakancel yung z squared natin dito. So, we have the integral of 2dz over 1 plus 1 is 2. And makakancel yung 2, no, dito. So, therefore, ano yung bago nating integral? We have the integral of dz. And this is equivalent to z plus c. Diba? Alam natin na ang integral ng dz is z plus c. So, substituting, again, by Weierstrass substitution, no, yung z is equal to tangent of x over 2. So, therefore, our final answer is tangent of x over 2 plus c. Yan. Yan yung final answer natin. Okay? So, let's jump into a slightly difficult, no? Slightly difficult example. Actually, hindi naman siya difficult, but tedious, let's say more of tedious example. So, number 3. So, we are asked to find for the integral of dx over 4 plus 2 sine x. No? So, ito yung pinapahanap sa atin. Integral ng dx over 4 plus 2 sine x. So, substitute again natin. No? Ito ko na lang lagay. So, this is equivalent to 2dz over 1 plus z squared over 4 plus 2 times 2z over 1 plus z squared. No? Then, multiply natin sa 1 plus z squared over 1 plus z squared. Ayan. So, makakancel yung ating mga denominator. Ba? So, next, no, let's simplify. We have here, ito, magmumultiply tayo ng 1 plus z squared dito. So, we will have 2dz over 4 plus 4z squared. So, dinistribute ko na yung 4 dito sa 1 plus z squared na na-distribute natin. Plus 2 times 2z, that is 4z. And with the denominator, common factor of 4. So, lalabas yan. So, we will have 2 over 4 times dz over z squared, rearrange ko lang, plus z plus 1. No? So, therefore, our temporary final integral, no? Bakit temporary? Kasi kailangan pa natin i-usein yung denominator. So, dz over z squared plus z plus 1. Obviously, this is not yet integrable. No? So, we need to transform the denominator into a form that will make this integral integrable. No? So, paano natin gagawin yon? Gagamit tayo ng concept natin from our past discussion on the integrants involving quadratic expressions. Okay, so focus muna tayo dito sa denominator. Okay, go dito. For denominator. Ayan. For the denominator, we have here z squared plus z plus 1. We need to transform this in the form ng u squared plus a squared. U is a differentiable function of z, no? Kasi sa z tayo nag-i-integrate. And a is a constant, perfect square constant, no? So, we need to find first u, no? Obviously. So, paano nga natin ginagawa yon from a perfect square trinomial? Kunin natin yung numerical coefficient ng middle term, which is 1. Then, divide natin sa 2. Diba? We will have 1/2. Then, write lang natin yung factored form. Diba? Ayan. Squared. No? So, ganyan naman lagi. Diba? So, yung nakuha nating quotient from the middle term divided by 2, divide ulit natin sa numerical coefficient nung factor z. So, 1/2 divided by 1 is obviously equal to 1/2. So, equal to 1/2. So, we will have z what? Z plus 1/2 squared. Okay? So, ito yung perfect square trinomial natin from this. Now, let's expand kasi syempre hindi may maiiwan pa dito sa 1. No? So, let's expand. We have z squared plus 2 times 1/2 z, so that is simply z. 'Di ba? Then plus 1/4 kasi the 1/2 squared is 1/4. Yung 1/4 saan nanggaling tong 1/4? No, ima-minus natin 'yan dito sa 1. So mag-a-add tayo ng 3/4. So to simplify, yung etong z squared plus z plus 1, this is equivalent to z plus 1/2 squared, quantity squared, plus 3/4. Now, we have our u squared here, no? Sa ngayon, ito yung u squared natin. Is this 3/4 equivalent, a perfect square based on a squared definition? Diba hindi? So, kailangan natin gawing perfect square itong 3/4. Paano natin magagawa yon? Magfa-factor out tayo mula sa mga multiples niya na may perfect square. So, iiwan natin sa loob yung perfect square, ifa-factor out natin yung hindi perfect square. Ano ba yung factors ng 3/4 na perfect square? So, without further thinking, lahat ng mga hindi perfect square, may multiple siya ng perfect square in the name of 1. Diba? Any number multiplied to 1 is equal to itself, and 1 is a perfect square. So, magfa-factor out tayo ng 3/4. 3/4 z plus 1/2 squared plus 1 squared. Diba? 1 squared is equal to 1. Now, tapos na ba tayo dito? Hindi pa. Bakit? Remember, nag-factor out tayo sa buong expression. And pag nag-factor out tayo dun sa isa, dapat mag-factor out din tayo sa isa. Remember na yung ating u squared, yung temporary u squared natin, has numerical coefficient of 1 as a whole. So, mula dun sa 1, kailangan nating mag-factor out ng 3/4. So, paano natin malalaman ano yung maiiwan dito? No? So, kunin nyo lang yung reciprocal nung finactor out ninyo. So, we will have 4/3. Okay? So, yung 4/3, pag minultiply mo siya sa 3/4, 1 yung lalabas. No? So, wala na tayong na-violate na mathematical law. Next, let's see. This is already a squared. Etong buo na to, since nag-factor out tayo, this should be considered as u squared. But is this a perfect square? Diba? Itong second natin, yung second quantity natin, yes, this is already a perfect square. But yung first quantity natin in the name of 4/3 is not yet a perfect square. So, kailangan natin hanapin yung equivalent na perfect square nito. Paano? Kunin lang natin yung square root. So, pag in-square root natin dito, lalabas si 2 over square root of 3. Which, pag in-square mo, equivalent siya doon sa una. 'Di ba? Ayan. Kahit ano nyo pa yan, gamitan nyo pa ng loss of exponents natin, lalabas dyan is 4 over 3. So, isa-substitute natin to naka-square na form dito para maipalabas natin yung actual value ng u. No, yung actual value ng u. Remember, 'di ba sa ating loss of exponent, a times b quantity squared is equivalent to a squared times b squared. 'Di ba? So, yun yung gagawin natin dito. So, we will have 3/4 times 2 over square root of 3 times z. Dinistribute ko na siya dito, ha? Plus 1/2 times square root of 1/2 times 2 over square root of 3. So makakancel yung 2. So we will have 1 over square root of 3. Quantity squared plus 1 squared. Ito na ngayon yung u natin. Yung u squared natin. Ito na yung a squared. So, u squared plus a squared. Okay? So, I hope you get the algebra behind in the manipulation of the denominator. Okay? So, ikakopy lang natin to kasama yung 3 over 4. No? Kasama tong 3 over 4 doon sa denominator dito. So, we will have 1/2 times dz over 3 over 4 times 2 over square root of 3z plus 1 over square root of 3 squared plus 1 squared. Ayan. Okay? So, yan yung bago nating integral. Etong z squared plus z plus 1 naging, eto, yung buong yan. No? So, this is in the form of du over u squared plus a squared. No? So, pero hindi pa natin pwede i-substitute agad. We need still to check. Baka mamaya may neutralizing factor tayong kailangan. Diba? So, gagawin natin first, ayusin lang natin yung integral natin. Etong 3/4, ilalabas natin. Paano natin siya ilalabas? Since nasa denominator siya, kunin nyo muna yung reciprocal, then i-multiply nyo dun sa labas. So, 4 over 3 times 1/2 will give us 2 over 3. Okay? Times the integral of dz. Nire-rearrange ko lang, ha. 2 over square root of 3z plus 1 over square root of 3 squared plus 1 squared. Okay? So, ano yung u natin dito? Dito sa ating, ano yung u natin dito? So, u is equal to 2 over square root of 3z plus 1 over square root of 3. Diba? A is equal to 1, obviously. Du is equal to what? Du is equal to 2 over square root of 3 dz. Dz lang ang meron tayo, so therefore dz is equal to square root of 3 over 2 du. So, ito yung ngayon yung ipapalit natin. From this, parang medyo complicated na integral, magiging 2 over 3 times square root of 3 over 2. Nilabas ko na lang siya. Ito yung neutralizing factor, ha. Integral ng du over u squared plus a squared. Tapos makakancel yung dalawang 2. Therefore, may iiwan is square root of 3 over 3. Diba? So, next. Sorry, medyo naipit pala yung ating solution. Ayan. So, write ko na lang, no? Integral ng du over u squared plus a squared. Ano yung additional standard formula natin for integral of du over u squared plus a squared? Diba we have 1 over a arctangent u over a. So we have square root of 3 over 3 times 1 over a arctangent ng u over a plus c. No? So ito na yung evaluated integral natin. Pero di pa tayo natatapos dito. Kailangan pa natin mag-substitute. A is equal to 1. So, obviously, this will be cancelled. No? Pati ito. Yung A dito sa loob, hindi siya cancel dahil may na-cancel. Cancel siya dahil 1 lang naman yung equivalent niya. No? So, then let us substitute. Ano yung value ng u natin? We have arctangent ng u. No? Ano yung arctangent ng u natin? That is 2 over square root of 3z plus 1 over square root of 3 plus c. Okay? Then, hindi pa tayo tapos. Bakit? Remember, this is still in z. We need to substitute this again, no? Dun sa value niya na tangent of x over 2. So, therefore, our final answer is, we will also rationalize this part, no? Tong dalawang to, rationalize natin yan. We have square root of 3 over 3, arctangent ng 2 square root of 3 over 3, tangent x over 2, plus square root of 3 over 3 plus c. Yan yung final answer. Okay? So I hope you guys got the yung concept ng Weierstrass and the mga algebra behind it. You need to review the algebra behind it because if you're not yung mga foundations natin, well, algebra is not solid enough, we will not be able to solve the integrals properly. Okay? So, that's all for this lesson. Thank you and stay safe.